My name is Neil Kipp. I'm your finance team lead here at Hope. And for today's stewardship moment, we'd like to call Linda Brooks, a lay leader here and has been a member of this church for, you're about to find out. You are about to find out. Here's Linda. Thank you.
It says right here, do not move this microphone. The good news for all of you today is I will not be singing my story as Neil and Hale did. You're welcome. I don't have that gift. But as an empath personality type, I will more likely cry than sing. Like Carrie Most shared 2 weeks ago, my legacy started before I was born. My maternal grandfather was called to ministry and attended Iliff Seminary, which makes me a GPK, Grand Preacher's Kid. Their youngest, my maternal grandfather and grandmother, had 3 children, my mother being the oldest. Their youngest, my aunt, contracted polio at the time of my birth. Before leaving the hospital, my mother succumbed to the same diagnosis. She would be moved to a polio ward, leaving my father alone to take home a newborn and my 2 older brothers, with the aid of a black nanny whom I ultimately bonded with. Months later, my mother would return home with residual cervical weakness and survivor's guilt. Sadly, she would leave her sister behind to navigate spinal paralysis and adaptation to life in a wheelchair at the young age of 21. The impact on my mother was vicariously passed to me. I would learn through her advocacy and helping others less fortunate. Jesus was calling her. Some of my earliest memories with my mom were visiting polio survivors in their homes as they spent time in their ominous iron lungs. She also campaigned for the March of Dimes, going door to door, collecting for those captured by the polio pandemic. On one occasion, she took me with her to Children's Hospital to see the impact polio had on the young. I remember that day with clarity at the age of 6. I said to myself, one day I will be a nurse or a physical therapist like the ones I've seen today helping. Jesus was calling me. My drive to achieve that goal never wavered. I graduated from college with my nursing degree in 1975, answering the call. As a young mother, I longed for my children to have the opportunities I had growing up with a Methodist congregation. How could they possibly miss out on a Methodist potluck? I met another young mother in our neighborhood and shared my desire to find a church. She had just joined one called Hope. Catchy name, I thought. So I decided to try it based on her exuberant recommendation. I never questioned what denomination it was. The warmth and welcome were appealing. I walked away that Sunday in 1983, having learned it was a Methodist church. I filled out the card to become a member, and I was confident Jesus had once called again. It became our family's portal for education, outreach, and service. There was no lack of opportunities. As a single mother of 3, what I was lacking was income. Stewardship rolled around as it does every year, but a true tithe for me was out of the question. Remembering the story of the widow's mite didn't quell my angst. After all, my gift has always been a gift that has kept on giving. In my adult Sunday school class at the time, I felt comfortable to share how this angst troubled me. One of the sage older members said, "This is not your season of monetary giving. Your service will suffice. This was a true gift to me. I was motivated to follow my vows the best way that I could. In the midst of young motherhood, activities, and a busy career, I would soon learn the magnitude and importance of my faith community. After a long shift, managing an OR, I would return home to find my middle child, age 17, Carrie, breathless and pulseless, secondary to her epilepsy, diagnosed only 3 years earlier. Now I was calling Jesus. I had helped save many people's lives, but could not save my own child. In deep despair, my ability to move forward was questionable. My pastor, Margaret, pried me away from the hospital, leaving my child behind. Arriving home, my kitchen was filled with Hope members, making coffee and preparing for those who would be arriving the next morning. This was the beginning of my journey, when others carried me until I could walk again. Jesus had answered the call. I was left insecure, lacking confidence and self-esteem. I'd lost hope. My life had no meaning or purpose. I was searching and yearning in classic textbook grief, unsure if I wanted to climb out of the very dark hole I was in. My family's legacy of survival would ultimately motivate me. I heard the words clearly: get up, move. You are not paralyzed. I was drawn to my college text, Man's Search for Meaning, by Viktor Frankl, a Holocaust survivor in Nazi Germany. I read his poignant words once again. Having a sense of purpose, a goal in life, draws us forward from one day to the next, even when we confront personal suffering or family tragedy. I have used these words as a patient motivator many times in my career. Now my God was speaking them to me. I heard Jesus' call once again. Use this experience to help others. I would seek further education and career change, utilizing all the skills I had acquired in many years of my satisfying career to embark on my practice of grief counseling. My transformation was taking place, supported by many, and especially my loving husband, who incidentally I met at Hope. Lisa was right. Hope really does change lives. Through 40 years of service to Hope, participation in small groups, missions, local, national, and abroad, and all the involvements I have said yes to, I have received more than I can offer gratitude for. Hope has continued to form me throughout the seasons of my life, serving my family in the good and the bad times, the joys and the sorrows, and at least 40 potlucks. It is a home, a family, a spiritual health club, as Neil said, where lives are formed and strengthened and sent out. Preparing this talk reaffirmed Jesus has been calling me all of my life. So I will end by asking, where is Jesus calling you?
Amen. Amen.